Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's okay now. Right
Yep.
on, Scott. Welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Denny. Thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
Thanks for being with me. I saw the resume. It's quite something. It's amazing to have you. The program
Thank
will be
you.
focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, Scott.
I do a lot of things for a living. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. So, to start with, I'm a business and personal coach. And so I work with business individuals to grow their business, develop business plans, good websites, marketing strategies, systems so that their business is flourishing and they can go sit on the beach in Florida and not have to be there constantly. I work with people around their careers, enhancing their LinkedIn profile, figuring out ways to help phrase and shine lights on differences and issues that are going on in their life. Like I helped a person yesterday who had been out of work on medical leave for 2 years and was like, I don't know what do I put for that piece that people then don't like me or what do I do? I work with so that's the coaching aspect. I just expanded around some stuff. I'm doing psychedelic intervention coaching using psychedelics to help people shift. I'm a rostered psychotherapist. I'm a licensed substance abuse counselor. I work for the Department of Transportation. So people that drive a bus, fly a plane, drive a boat, uh, truckers, train engineers, if they have a dirty urinalysis, come up positive for drugs, they need to meet with me in Vermont in order to get driving again. I run a farm animal rescue. I have a not-for-profit that I'm involved with, and I have animals that are brought in, and we replace those, and off they go. As part of that, to develop and bring income, I run a campground that's attached to that farm rescue, so people come and camp and sleep with the animals. And as part of that stuff, we do farm tours and other activities around that. And in my free time, I write books. I just
Yeah, I
published
was
my
about to ask
20th
that because,
book.
where do you get the free time? Are you like Red Bull's biggest client or
I
something?
am, and I'm not even finished because I
I
also
know.
teach Tai Chi in the community. I'm a licensed fitness instructor, and so I teach Tai Chi for the elderly. I'm a Sun 73 Tai Chi instructor. I volunteer as an EMT. I'm an EMT instructor. I'm also a firefighter. And so I'm focused on these. And then in addition to all of that, I am licensed as a insurance provider. So I sell people supplemental benefits insurance like dental insurance, vision insurance. I'm also just got approved by the three big three in New Hampshire to help people on the exchange get signed up for their health insurance. And I just finished the Master Gardener program here in Vermont, so I'm helping out with that piece too. In addition to, yeah, so I'm busy.
Yeah, I saw the profile. I noticed you're not an astronaut. What's up with that?
That's next. That's next.
Okay, because you got me worried.
Right, right. Sometimes I feel like I've been shot out of a cannon, or strapped to to the top of a rocket ship that's going off. But
Yeah, that
yeah,
never does.
I'm juggling a lot, busy all the time.
It's my personal advice to everybody, regardless of age. As long as you're healthy, you shouldn't be doing just one thing. You get me? Because what there was this conversation I had a very, very long time ago, even before the podcast, before everything, with a friend of my father's. Is been quite a while now. And he was telling me he had about 35 years of experience, and now the factory is closed, and now he can't find a job. Now I was a kid back then, but I was thinking to myself, Like, no, you don't have 35 years of experience. You got 1 year of experience to learn how to do stuff in the factory. And that
Hmm.
was the same and the same and the same and the same. The equipment in that factory was as old as he was, right? I understand, and back then people were building quality stuff. Sure, they did. Those were quality machines, but it's over. All right. Whether if it's good or bad, it's over. I'm not even going to go there. It's over. So, you got to do different stuff. If you, and it's not really even for the money. Do it for yourself, right? Just do different stuff because once you make that as a habit to do stuff, differently, life is way more interesting, way easier. Because I was totally joking when I said about Red Bull biggest client.
Right.
I get you. I get you because I'm sure this isn't something you started yesterday. So basically, second question was, how did you get there? So, because I don't think that you were walking on the street one day and you were like, let me be everything but an astronaut. So, a lot of experience brought you to the place you're right at
Right.
the
Right.
moment. So, how did you get there?
So here's another piece, Denny, to add to that, especially for listeners who are thinking, what do I do? And this is what I would say as the mistake. There's the guy who's working in the factory that had
Yeah.
1 year of experience. But there's also this, I call it an approach to life mistake that people make. And that guy who worked in the factory had this vision that he swallowed hook, line, and sinker of I'm going to work all these years and then I'm going to get to this age and then I'm going to retire and then I'm going to go to Florida. And I don't mean you might not go to Florida,
I
but
know
I'm
what you
just saying
mean.
this again. I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to be in a retirement community. I'm going to have cocktails. I'm going to play shuffleboard and then I'm going to die. And it doesn't matter if you're working on widgets in a factory or you're a high paid lawyer approving contracts, for a big, Fortune 500 company. If all of your life is focused on doing the job, getting to the retirement, and then, I don't know, travel or what, that's not a life. That is not a life. And
No, that's
so
existence.
I met up with some folks just last week. I was camping and hanging out with my dogs, and they have been retired for 10 years, 15 years, and they've done a lot of travel. They've been to Greece. No, they're going to Greece. They've been to Egypt. They've been on the Great Wall of China. They've been to Paris. They've been on top of the Eiffel Tower. They're like, we're working on our bucket list, but the rest of their life is empty. There's
Yeah.
no meaning. And so when they die, it's the same thing that people struggle with, I'm going to buy a car and I'll be happy. Or I'm going to buy a boat and I'll be happy. Or once I get that timeshare, I'll be happy. It's like once I go and I go to the top of Machu Picchu, I'll be happy. And then they get there and then like, oh, now I need to go to Ireland and now I'll be happy. And it's just the same consumerism piece. The key kind of thread through everything that I'm doing is working to make a difference in the world because that's going to outlast me. No one, when I die, no one's going to give a hoot whether I've been to Machu Picchu or not. And they're certainly not going to write that on my tombstone. But when I die, if I get to my goal, which by the way is to write 100 books, so I've got to 20, so I'm 1/5 of the way there. If I have 100 books
Don't
that I've
forget to give
written,
me the link for the books because I want to put it down there. All right.
okay. If I get to 100 books, that's going to create a ripple effect in so many areas. And these books are not, mm, they're not like Harry Potter books. They're not romance books. They're not science. They are like self-help, grow, be a better person, gardening books. Yeah, yes. They're not that. No.
I
Uh,
I just have the Harry Potter here because
good prop. Good prop. Uh, they're books that each book makes a difference, whether
yeah.
it's on gardening. I'm working on a book right now on teaching my dogs how to paddleboard and teaching your dog how to paddleboard. So it's not even just Oh, it's coaching stuff. It's like,
That's pretty good because I had a difficult time to teach myself how to paddleboard. I mean,
that's a different book. That's a different book, Denny. I'm not
I
writing
will
that book.
use YouTube. It's a good thing that you mentioned, this whole thing. If you don't have this internal peace, if you don't know what fulfills you, you're not gonna be happy. I've interviewed on this channel, I think she was from Poland. Maybe she was, I'm not sure. So a Polish intern that lives in Finland, and she was at the time, that was a couple of years ago, at the time she was a babysitter, right? So she was a student and a babysitter, and she was an intern at the same time. And I interviewed a guy from Canada who had his own business, was doing pretty good, and both of them told me that, you know, money is an issue. We need to have more money. So, we're talking about a 19-year-old kid and a well developed man. So if I get to interview Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, I'm pretty sure they will tell me that they need more. This isn't going
Absolutely.
to, money is a tool. There is this old saying, I don't even remember if it's Arabic, Asian, or something. So a son is walking with his father, and they go to
Mhm.
the market and they see a merchant who sells camels. And the father said, how much for the camel, for one camel? And the merchant gives him the amount, and he was like, nah, too expensive. The next year, father and the son are going, same merchant, how much for a camel? And he's giving me like double the price. And the father like, okay, that's a very good price. I want 10 of those. And the son was like, well, Dad, last year you said that this was pretty expensive. Now it's double and you're buying 10 of those? He's like, last year we didn't have money. We have them now. So money, just view money as a tool, not
Right.
as a, and about the boat, because I've been in that situation. Do you know the two
And
happiest
it's
days of a boat owner? You know who they are? The
the
two,
day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat.
yes.
That's that it? That's it.
Yeah, and I think that when you sell it, you're actually happier. You're a little bit guilty because you know what the next person will go through, but you're not gonna tell them. But
Right.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right about that. You really got to do something about that will last after you.
Right. And
And
that comes back down
yeah,
to, somebody goes to college and people look at college and higher education these days as job training. And I
yeah.
think that's a mistake. College is really life training. And if you're in college and you're just taking courses and courses to get a job and you're not taking advantage of all the other things you get in college to help you grow as an individual, a person, a husband or a wife, a person, a contributor to society, if you're not volunteering while you're in college, you're missing so much.
Uh,
Because again, people aren't going to be like, what are they going to write? Oh, look at that carpenter, built lots of houses in his life. That was it. And then went to Florida and retired. Lawyer, did lots of contracts for IBM in his life and then, traveled around the world. Like, that's not a life. Not a
no,
life. That's not what people think about the people you admire. What do we admire them for? We don't admire them for, God, that was a really nice, hedge you trimmed.
yeah, and
We
no
admire them
disrespect.
when,
This is why I really don't admire musicians or actors, regardless of how talented they are. I I like the product. I'm a huge movie fan. I love movies. It's not like I'm gonna admire them. We had this thing here in Southern Europe that very popular singer. And he's a charming man, right?
Mhm.
And he was talking politics. So I'm like, dude, you sing. Like, just sit down and shut up, man. Nobody wants to hear that from you. I want to hear you sing, and I will pay for that. That's it. That's our relationship.
Right. And it's really on that musician to develop that other relationship by service, by
Yeah.
helping by diversifying, because that musician is just like the guy in the factory
Yep.
that is developing a product, except instead of pushing something off the line at the end of the factory, he's pushing a musical
On
CD
Spotify.
or MP3 for us to listen to.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you mentioned colleges and universities, and that's actually the third question. That's the reason I'm asking it. The reason I'm asking is the question is, how did you knew that this was the way to go? You highlighted a few things. Want to touch on the college. Well, here in Europe, at least in the Scandinavian peninsula where I graduated, things aren't exactly like that. We do view it as an internship. As a matter of fact, if you choose to, and that's how I did it, the last semester of your master's degree is an internship. You're actually being paid to do it. We almost didn't have professors in the real term. Our
Mhm.
professors and teachers were CEO of companies and people that are actually in that business. And they were over there so that they can select the new generation of workers.
Mhm.
So I think that was tremendously useful. I think I would rather have that kind of a tutor, one who is already in the business, not only in the business, but
Right?
he invested in that business or she invested in that business. And those people don't play around. They invested their whole life in that. They
Right.
aren't going to tolerate nonsense. As a matter of fact,
That's very true.
we even had this option, like if you don't want to be in this class, you could have always just go over there and say, I'm not interested. And they will give you almost around average grade. And I'm not going to say that you were absent. I'm not going to give you any troubles. But if you don't want to be here, don't want to be here. This isn't mandatory. It was mandatory. But they didn't want to lose their time and their effort and their energy with someone who doesn't want to receive that knowledge. So I think that was very good. Uh, However, I had a problem, and I still have that. I won't call it problem. Let's call it issue. The people tend to go to colleges, yeah, corporate stuff. I just have it. It's like a chip at the back of my head. That's why I shaved my head. I tried to remove it, but couldn't find it.
Did it work?
No, it didn't.
No.
It's still there. But I've noticed something. And it's quite something. People tend to go to colleges and universities because there's that ridiculous stigma that once you have the diploma, once you have the degree, your life will be easier. And I guarantee you, it's not going to be easier. Not only that, a lot, not all, not all, but a lot of them are over there simply for the paper. They're getting into stuff they don't really want to. Most of, especially the younger people, they don't have professors, and tutors like I did. Most of the tutors over there are just because they have to be over there to get their salary. They don't care. Let's be honest. And we have teachers that don't care and students that don't care. And what do we have now? We have 24, 5, 6 year old adults. All right. In my book, those aren't kids. Those are young adults. They may be stupid, but they're young adults. And they have this puffed up ego once they're out of college or out of university, like somebody owned them something. They don't. And again, I'm not saying that all universities and colleges are like that. I'm a poster boy for college. I graduated college, master's degree. I was about to do PhD. I decided to postpone it for personal reasons. So I'm not against the institutions. I'm against how the institutions are handling the situation because I've lost money. I'm sure you've lost money here and there. We all lose relationships, friends. It's just how life is. But when you have young people, 20-year-old some people losing 5 to 6 years doing something that's not for them, starting a job later on that's not for them, but it's related to the field they studied, and you end up being miserable. If you're doing something that it's not for you and you don't like it, but you're doing it anyway, you're being miserable. I've talked to very, very tremendously well-paid folks from
Right.
IT sector.
Hmm.
Those are really, really well paid. Like I'm doing well in life and they get for 3 months my annual salary. Those are really well
Right.
paid. Those aren't happy people. They
Because
are,
the issue that there's a common thread that you're talking about here,
yeah,
Denny, and that is chasing. We talked about the person who is looking for the specific job. Well, they're chasing after something. It's the person who thinks everything will be great when I have this car, this boat, this house, this spouse. You're chasing. Someone who says, once I get to Machu Picchu and I've taken all these things off my bucket list, I'll be happy. They're chasing. What are they chasing in college? They're chasing letters after their name. And they think once they have the right combination or length of letters, because those letters never end, right? You can
Yeah.
master them PA. I mean, the alphabet can go on forever. And you think you're gonna, once I get that, then I'll be the doctor of everything that is great. And people, you're chasing. That's the problem. You need to stop chasing, start living in the present moment, start helping other people with compassion and love. And then you're going to be like, wow, I'm happy. How come I'm happy? I'm not chasing anymore. That's why.
It's a snowball effect from there, by the way. Once you start living in the moment, living in the present, you're never going to end the list. There's always something to add on and add on. I Man, you remind me of that story. I been years, maybe 3, 4 years, I don't remember. Dear friend of mine, he's an engineer. Gave me a call one day. He said, "Listen, I have a guy in my office who wants to install some solar panels because once you do that, you're technically an energy producer, so it reduces taxes." And by trade, I'm an accountant. I was like, okay, sure. And I went to his office and started giving him advice, like how to book it, how to do the books, how to
Mhm.
reduce taxes. And the doctor, his client was a doctor, but like a doctor, he had more titles, like letters longer than his name. It was crazy, and he kept interrupting me, and he kept interrupting my friend who was an engineer. And he was like, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. Like, okay, I'm an accountant, and I'm talking about accounting, and he's an engineer, and he's talking how to put it there so that it doesn't fall on your doctor head. All right. I'm sure you're a genius and tremendous person, but you have no expertise here. An engineer is talking about tech stuff and an accountant is talking about how to book it. Okay, just because you got this MD, that doesn't mean you know about our job, right? And he was so offended he left. No, those titles they don't really do a lot of things. Matter of fact, I think they only fuel the ego if they were done wrong. If they were done
Right.
right, it's perfect.
Right. Right.
I have a fourth question, and I'm sure you can talk a lot about it, but just at the top of your head. You already kind of said it perfectly, like don't chase, but if you can elaborate or something, if you can give one advice to the audience, mostly people that are exactly in that situation, is this job for me? Is this university for me? If what I'm doing right now is this for me? If you can give them one advice, what will it be?
If I could give one advice, especially these days, because this is another thing that people chase.
Yeah.
Life is not about being happy. People are deluded. They're sold. It's a bad bill of goods. People are sold this perception that life is about being happy. And once they get ding, 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 then they'll be happy. And if they don't have ding, 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 then they won't be happy and they got to get this and put that there. Life's not about that because the truth of our life is that everybody gets old, everybody gets sick, and everybody's going to die. And all of that is, and people around you are going to get old and sick and die and leave. And so life's got misery in it as well as happiness. And if you're chasing happiness and that's your only peace, when this misery comes your way, you're going to be miserable. So what life's really about, and you're going to have to Google this. Google this. Life's about equanimity. Equanimity, not happiness. And equanimity, not just when there's bad times, but equanimity when there's good times. That's my piece of advice.
I love what you said. I don't know if you had the chance to read it. Reginald Kipling's poem "If,"
Mm,
and that's exactly what it says. Well, I don't know it by heart, but happiness and misery. If you can treat those two imposters just the same, because
right.
they are
Oh,
imposters.
so look that up. Equanimity, after this podcast is over, Google equanimity from your phone and then Google if the poem. And who's the author of that again?
Reginald Kipling. He's the author of Jungle Book or Mowgli. That thing.
Okay.
It's a tremendous poem. And with that said, Scott, I really appreciate you being with me, man. I hope you hit the 100 books. And please don't forget to send me all the links so that I can put it here.
I
Tag
will.
you
You're
on
going to have a
LinkedIn and everywhere.
huge long list of links.
Perfect. As long as possible.
Thank you.
Right on. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.